grab a Kleenex.
Oh my God.
And a hammer. Because we're ready to build a home for 3 siblings who'd never had one.
Because we got adopted.
And a monument to family history.
It was an experience. It really was.
We're making thousands of squeezable friends.
He keeps company for me while I'm reading.
And life's next chapters.
She saved my life.
It's time to get to work. This is Iowa.
KCCI presents a celebration of the people who make our state special. This is Iowa.
There are a lot of building projects going on across our state right now. Some are working to build up families, others are working to preserve the history of our state, and still others are honoring the next generation of Iowans. And we'll get to all of those stories. But first, let's start with the story of a surprise that still has one of the biggest hospitals in the state buzzing because of the gift one woman gave to set up the future for one woman's health.
The moment you're about to see
Usually doesn't happen in the hospital,
is incredibly rare.
so everybody's excited.
Debbie Cooker there, in the hospital gown, in front of the IV pole, just got a new kidney 24 hours ago. But at this moment, she still doesn't know who gave it to her. But she knows her donor
Ready?
is behind that door.
Coming. Oh my God.
Emotions overflowed because of a call Debbie got a year ago when her blood work showed her kidneys were failing.
It was devastating. Joe and I had been married a year, excuse me, and I'd found happiness, you know.
The Monroe Bank employee with a big family and an even bigger smile was suddenly overwhelmed with dialysis, fear,
Yeah, it was scary.
and the reality that she needed a new kidney. But she didn't want to ask.
I never wanted anybody to hurt because of me.
Everyone close tested. No one was a match until Debbie's phone rang again in December.
Oh, it was extremely emotional. Lots of tears, lots of praising God on that.
So at that point, what did you know about your donor?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I didn't know if it was male, female. I knew nothing.
She didn't even know who it was when, January 23rd, she rolled into surgery and closed her eyes.
I was a nervous wreck.
As soon as they opened,
My first question was, how's my donor? That was the first thing I asked because I needed to make sure that they were okay.
even then, she didn't know that donor knew her.
That she cares about people more than herself. She cares about others with her whole heart.
Kara Wallace is only 20 years old. Her family's been close to Debbie's family for decades. And Kara knew Debbie so well, she knew her gift had to be top secret.
Because I know Miss Debbie, and she would not let me go through with it, or she would talk me out of it. She would do everything in her power so that I wouldn't have to go through that.
She's right.
She's right. Yeah, she's right.
So transplant day,
So to pull that surprise off was hard.
everyone in the hospital was on edge.
You've got 2 surgeries, you've got a donor, you've got a recipient. This hospital is big, but it is not that big. When you're trying to hide a person, it is not that big.
During surgery, they even kept the families who were friends apart.
We were even coordinating walking in the hallway because we didn't want them to walk in the hallways at the same time. If they ran into each other, that was it. They would have known.
But the next day, after surgery, when it was too late to cancel, that door crept open.
Oh my God.
And for the first time, Debbie saw that 20-year-old that she knew had given her life.
Come here, sunshine. Sweet girl. Oh my God, I can't believe. Oh, honey.
I miss Debbie.
Honey. Thank you. Oh, oh.
What?
Oh, what? I didn't know. Oh, sweetheart. This is so much for you.
Never in a million years. Never. I could have guessed 500 times, and that sweet girl would never have come to mind just because she's so young and, oh, just so sweet.
It's a very hard secret to keep. I love you too. Oh my gosh.
It's been a very, very hard secret.
On a morning when scars were still fresh,
Oh my gosh.
everyone in the room felt the love.
There's tears everywhere.
And a few weeks later,
You shocked her, didn't you, a little bit?
A little bit.
Oh my god.
the reveal caught on camera was still the buzz around Iowa Methodist. Doctors were still talking about it.
I cried a lot.
You did?
Oh, yeah, it was very emotional.
Kara knew the pain she'd be going through would be so intense they couldn't hug. But she did this anyway.
I can't believe you did this for me. Thank you so much.
I mean, you've been through so much pain. It really was worth it? Why?
Have you met her? She's just such a sweet woman. She's always so kind and generous.
Giving the ultimate gift.
She gave me my life. You know, she's so selfless and just so generous and just an amazing human being.
As Debbie builds back her health with her new kidney, another Iowa family is building onto their forever home.
But the walls of this Garner house aren't the only thing expanding. Plus,
It was an experience. It really was.
from humble horsepower to the zoom of electricity, the Iowan on track to cement our streetcar past into history. And sometimes the best listener doesn't say a word. We're building life skills one page at a time when This Is Iowa continues.
Home construction projects are a lot to take on, especially one of this size. But this large addition to a Garner home is making room for dreams to come true.
I really enjoy it.
So this is all worth it to you?
Yeah.
Building what is basically a second house connected to your home takes a lot of work.
And then that's gonna go right there.
In the dead of winter, it can be even more daunting.
So we'll have heat up here, and then I'll get my insulation, but I did all the wiring and the plumbing.
But this couple from Garner will tell you it's worth it for a reason. Well, 3 reasons.
We got this call about, here's these 3 kids, they're amazing, and we need to find them a home.
But they weren't sure, because Amanda and Eric had already adopted Aiden and Avery from Taiwan just months after they were born.
I'm just thankful for my parents, because if my parents wouldn't have gone to Taiwan and got me, I would be in a totally different place than I am right now.
The 4 of them have lived in this house for years, so when they got the call about 3 more kids possibly joining the family,
so I was like, no, there's 3 kids, no way.
The logistics of going from a family of 4 to a family of 7 just didn't add up.
When we heard about these kiddos, we just kept saying, oh, we're not qualified. You know, we don't have a big enough house.
In June, they were asked to watch 10-year-old Jordan, 8-year-old Jocelyn, and 7-year-old Jonathan for a week. It was going to be their 17th temporary stay in less than 5 years. But
yeah, you see their smile, and you read their story, and it's like they
made a decision.
That was kind of when I knew.
Temporary stays couldn't continue. This was their new permanent home.
Like literally, they were just dropped off, and they've not left.
We're so thankful.
But they were still 7, squeezed into a small house.
And it was supposed to be a weekend thing, so it was like, we don't have bedrooms, all these things.
All the things you'd want to offer a child to make it perfect.
So in August, they started by knocking down the old garage to build a new foundation on faith.
So I hired an excavator with the money that we had, and he dug a hole. And I remember thinking, are we just gonna have a hole in the ground?
But a small community that knows Jordan, Jocelyn, and Jonathan decided to help out by starting a fundraiser.
Because they believe in these kids, and so they're like, we know we're not giving you this money so that you can have this big house, but we're giving you this money because we want to invest in these kids too.
The tight-knit group raised $50,000. Another donor matched that donation, raising a total of $100,000. giving Eric the money he needed to start building.
Your door side? As money came in, I bought stuff, and then I just started building.
But it was more than money.
And the sweetest notes in the mail. We
Yeah.
believe in you. Thank you for what you're doing. Yeah, it was just people we didn't even know.
While building Room for More, there were still scars that needed healing. Something as simple as packing bags for a Christmas trip to Grandma and Grandpa's sparked bad memories.
You know, I pack a bag, and I know I'm coming back home. But because they have been bounced around so much, every time they packed a bag, it was never coming back.
I went and bought them all brand new bags with their favorite, characters on them, and they came in and they were like, "What's this for? What are we doing? Where are we going?" Yeah, and so one of the little boys said, "Mom, you're really going to adopt us, right?" And I said, "Yeah." "You promise?" They go, "Yep." And he said, "Well, could we call them something different?" I'm like, "Sure, buddy. What do you want to call them?" He goes, "How about adventure bags?" So that's what we called them.
And their best adventure unfolded on February 3rd.
Are we ready?
In an old Clear Lake church, when the Williams made it official. Jordan, Jocelyn, and Jonathan aren't going anywhere.
We're adopting you.
You got your mom and dad now. What does that mean to you guys?
Means I have Jesus in my heart right now. I like having a family this big.
Jocelyn, how happy are you right now?
Excited.
What makes you so excited?
Because we got adopted.
What are you looking forward to the most?
Hugging them and never letting them go.
1, 2, 3.
A family chose love before logistics, and now these three have a brighter future and a whole world of possibilities in front of them.
I want them to know and to feel like this is for sure, forever now. The opportunity to change a life, it's worth it. I mean, it's worth giving up vacations, giving up stuff that we don't necessarily need in order so somebody can have a shot at their life, a shot at a dream.
Because to them,
okay, that's your outside stud.
It's worth it to build a family.
His stories have taken us all over our state. Now KCCI's Steve Carlin tells us his final story before retirement.
But the nostalgia of the streetcars just kept living.
Honoring our past and our coworker. Next, this is Iowa.
For more than 3 decades, you've welcomed KCCI's Steve Carlin into your home. He's shown off our state's beauty in his Carlin Covers Central Iowa stories and led our state fair coverage from the KCCI stage. And he's been here daily, anchoring our morning and evening newscasts across his career. Steve has told thousands of great stories in his 34 years at KCCI, and now he's writing a new story in retirement. Well, before his next chapter, he's sharing one more Carlin Covers Central Iowa, a new monument honoring a slice of Iowa history.
Clang, clang, clang went the trolley.
Well, they weren't quiet.
Ding, ding, ding went the bell.
They made their own noise.
Kind of like Judy Garland in the classic Hollywood Golden Age musical Meet Me in St. Louis, Earl Short was never the same after he saw a Des Moines streetcar.
From the moment I saw him, I fell.
We did not have an automobile.
So for Earl, from toddler to teenager, it was either walk or take the trolley.
So I grew up using the streetcar as our transportation wherever we went.
Short became so fascinated with streetcars because for nearly 40 years his father Iman was a city operator.
1923 to 1961.
The Des Moines streetcar system started humbly on the hoof.
1886 with a horse-drawn.
But pretty quickly, the horsepower was permanently put out to pasture.
And then in 1888, they went to electric.
Buzz, buzz, buzz went the buzzer. Pop, pop, pop went the wheel.
At its peak, dozens of din-inducing trolleys trundled all over town on 16 separate streetcar lines, traveling to 27 different destinations.
Fingers went out to all the areas of the metro.
And the fare, according to Earl, was just 5 cents. Nothing more than a nickel.
It was an experience. It really was.
Diesel-powered buses that could cozy right up to the curb were Des Moines Public Transit's ultimate destiny. So in 1951, a streetcar named Retire made the city's final official run.
But the nostalgia of the streetcars just kept living.
Earl is a Des Moines streetcar expert, endlessly researching for the roughly 20 trolley talks he puts on per year all over town.
I work on the PowerPoints every day.
In 2017, he started raising money for the new city streetcar system monument. He also helped historians settle on the site, the old Waveland turnaround right in front of the public golf course on Des Moines' west side.
I don't want to see that destroyed. That's a valuable piece of history.
Because just like Judy Garland, Earl Short immediately settled on something to love when he hopped on a streetcar.
And the pencils have never been sharpened.
Carlin's covered central Iowa from basements packed with pencils.
There ain't no place like this place.
To roadside oddities.
Legs are made out of light poles.
He's introduced us to dogs darting out of ditches.
Spin a few circles in a special spot.
People will see me uptown and comment that they just love that dog.
And taught us about our home.
I came to the first dance, so that's 75 years.
Our state thanks you, Steve, for letting us tag along. They're not your ordinary teddy bears.
Want little chubby tummies and little chubby legs.
Building bears by the thousands so entire communities of kids can build their future. This is Iowa.
You can buy or build a bear at plenty of stores across our state, but after a few weeks, they start collecting dust. Well, that's not the case in northern Iowa, where we found hundreds of bears building up our next generation of Iowans every day.
First grade teachers know the key to learning
If I write the number 7.
is masking it with fun.
Everybody together.
Whether it's math in the morning or
All right, put your hands on your heads, please.
what's coming next.
So we are going to move to our reading rounds.
Such a highlight. These first graders hop to their cubbies to grab their buddies who've been waiting all day for this. The 20 minutes Maddox's bear,
Hawkinson,
and Eva's friend,
Ariel,
get to sit on their laps and hang on every word.
Happy pig. Do not worry, Pinky. I have a plan.
Learning to read is hard.
The cat nap on the mat.
And teachers know confidence is key.
I'm a little bit not good, but I'm learning about the brain.
But to help, here in Eagle Grove Elementary, Mrs. Peterson's first graders all have a personalized listener.
My bear has farm stuff on it, and it even has a pocket that I can put stuff into it.
Who won't make fun of kids wrestling with the words.
I see colors. Sometimes I get mixed up in the bear tells me to sound it out, so I do. And then I sound it out and it gets better.
Personal reading buddies sit in these little laps and just listen. 20 minutes every day.
It makes it better because it feels like I got someone to read with.
Which is exactly why 20 miles away,
Okay.
Deb Townsend's thread just found its needle.
There we go.
For her passion project that's coming together,
This is the tummy piece.
one tummy at a time.
Want little chubby tummies and little chubby legs.
You see, when she was in elementary,
So I was probably 8 years old.
Deb learned to sew. But when her daughter became a teacher and shared stories of the struggles so many kids face.
What I'm finding out is there are a lot of kids that don't have a lot of things.
Deb grabbed some fun fabric and dove in.
This is the head.
Head first, making sure every bear she makes is as unique as the 7-year-olds who will get them.
A lot of the students that the bears are for, English is not their first language.
And she's been told first-generation readers can help their moms and dads navigate life.
You know, it's really important for us to do a good job with these kids so that they grow up and they can help their whole family.
So Deb invests 3 hours building each bear.
Boys like them, girls like them.
And more time hand stuffing them, knowing when she delivers them the first week of school.
Once they pick their bear, they hold it like a baby.
Cat.
Mrs. Peterson's class suddenly looks forward to reading.
Things couldn't be better.
With their buddies in their laps. But down the hall,
Hey, yo, class.
Hey, yo, yeah.
so does Mrs. Conaway's class.
Let's have my purple row go get your book bags, please.
Because this year,
What color are pumpkins?
Deb Townsend has hand-sewed reading buddies for every first grader in Eagle Grove and in Humboldt, plus more entire classes in Webster City and Grundy Center. In fact, she's made 1,600 of them for kids like Maddox.
At home, I have a baby brother. I kind of read to him. It's kind of like that.
And Henry.
Because he keeps company for me while I'm reading.
And their teachers?
You know, the light bulb comes on.
They tell Deb their class reading scores have soared since her bears moved in.
Now, it improved last year too, but this improved 120% more than the previous year. I know I'd be foolish to say Reading Buddies was the only reason why, but I do think it helps. I really do.
Because we can snuggle and we can read a book through them. So it helps me to keep working on books that I don't really know the words to it, and it helps me figure out what the word is.
Because English is tough.
Wakes with a grin.
But it gets better with each page. Sure, you could buy bears in bulk, but they wouldn't be personal.
They're all different. They're all unique. They all have like something special to them. I think that's what's really cool about them is that she takes the time. They're just so, you know, amazingly made.
Hand stuffed with love, so classrooms of 7-year-olds Deb doesn't even know can have a listening ear built especially for them.
A warthog's nose isn't pretty, but it's the perfect food finder. First,
Henry will keep reading those stories, and we'll keep telling them because there are characters all around us, honoring, inspiring, and helping our neighbors. I'm Eric Hansen. This is I.